So, Black Panther, the latest addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let me just get this off my chest before we begin. All the irrational people who watch this movie just to get their point across when it comes to African American representation in the superhero franchise makes me cringe so fucking bad. I paid to go watch a movie about a superhero I thought was cool when I was a kid. I didn't give a flying fuck whether he was black or not back then, and I still don't. I like Black Panther because he's a cool character. Twitter has been all over this movie the last month or so, with its usual SJW bullshit, saying that Black Panther should be a black people only allowed film, or if you give it a bad review you are racist and so on, using movies as a platform to spew your toxic venom all over this shit is so deplorable that I can't even. Some come out saying that Black Panther is the first black superhero. I think these guys beg to differ. Some people are even afraid of voicing their critique for the movie at all because of the fear of being called racist by these SJWs. Well, I'm not fucking afraid. I'm a critic. I'm here to judge the movie on its performance, not race. People who follow that kind of train needs to slit their wrists, because that shit is so contradictory. You come here and say that we can't judge something on race, yet you say that a movie should be black people only, or stuff like that. That is the definition of what you're trying to prevent. Are you dense? Anyway, now that I have seen it, I will definitely give credit where credit is due. Spoilers ahead from this point, so beware. Let's go. The opening for this movie was very well executed, and it summarizes the lore of Wakanda in a neat and accurate package with a very nice visuals and ideas, so that is definitely to be commended. When going into this movie, I did not expect it to succeed. The trailer trolled me completely. I was so afraid that this movie would have Kendrick Lamar's type of music all throughout. That would have been completely out of place for a African utopian society, you know? And it would definitely be worthy of a smackdown in that case. Luckily, this was not the case. Kendrick Lamar was used extremely lightly, and when he was, it worked. It made sense. They give an explanation to it in the movie, so it works. This is what leaves Ludwig Göransson's score to shine, so the score gets a big plus for me. Here's a small example. They have managed to merge that type of music into the movie. It's woven in there neatly. I like it. Big plus for me. The main antagonists, which are Ulysses Klaue and Killmonger. Klaue, who had his debut in Age of Ultron, gets his chance to shine in this movie. Andy Serkis, as always, does a great job in his performance. They do kill him off during the start of the second act, and I feel like they could have done a lot more with Klaue, but they used him sparingly and it paid off. Him dying gives space for Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, and I expected his character to be very flat, judging from the character. Because he says shit like, yeah, it's time to restart the world, time to burn it down, blah blah blah. It's so fucking cliched, I don't even. But his character turned out to be fucking awesome. You sympathize with his motives, and you feel like, yeah, maybe this guy has a point. What he's trying to accomplish could be considered a noble goal. Maybe how he's doing it is not that noble, but you can totally see where he's coming from. And that makes a terrific villain. So Killmonger and Klaue, you get a big plus from me. One of the biggest merits is that its humor does not fuck with the flow, like Guardians 2 or Thor 3, for example. Or fucking Star Wars, The Last Jedi, that's a great example right there. The jokes they have in Black Panther, they fucking land, except that one. There was one or two jokes that just took me completely out of the movie. Undoubtedly, the worst scene in the movie is when T'Challa gets his own Q scene straight out of a James Bond movie, where his sister shows off his new gadgets that she's building for him. She makes a passing on T'Challa's shoes. He's wearing flip-flops or some shit when he comes in. So she makes a passing on his shoes, and she goes like, "What are those?" And that forced the movie into a complete stop. It just derailed the entire thing right there. I mean, it took me out of the movie, because whenever I go into the theater, I expect to be immersed, I want to be sucked into the world, I want to feel like I'm in there, you know, escape reality for a while. But then they go, shoop, and I'm back out, you know? So, just take that out, and we're good, okay? The movie resumed just fine, but it felt so unnecessary and just disrupted the flow entirely. Take it out. The pacing felt a little bit off at times. For example, Killmonger shows up and steals an artifact in the beginning, then he is nowhere to be seen for like an hour or so, and then he is suddenly back in. So we go like, oh yeah, that guy from the start of the movie. There are a couple of those here and there in the movie. It's hard to remember now after my first viewing. Will be a lot easier after I see it a second time, but all of these, it made the movie feel slightly off-center, but at least it knew where it was going, which was ultimately to the benefit of the film. But no movie is without its flaws, and this is undoubtedly the movie's biggest. But it didn't fuck with me as much as a lot of people claims it did, at least during my first viewing. I've also heard a lot of complaining around the special effects, and I agree with those as well. The special effects were not top-notch. This movie didn't have as big a budget as other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. But I didn't really pay attention to that. I usually never do during my first viewing, so I am definitely looking forward to seeing it a second time to judge the movie on its technical aspects. But besides that, it's a solid movie. So in retrospect, Black Panther, a movie that is, in the end, is very competent indeed, once you get rid of all the social justice warrior bullshit that no movie benefits from. Look what we have, a competent movie that I enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time on Vortex Reviews.